Hello and welcome to Market House, the podcast where we talk all things Disney. My name's Caleb.
And I'm Caitlin.
And you may have heard our other co-host, little Maddie there. I think she's making grunts and sighs. This week, we talk with our friends over at the Happiest Hour on Earth about the Disney Cruise Line. Let's dive in. All right, well, this is episode number 111. And we are semi-back.
We are.
Yeah, it has been quite the last couple of weeks. It's been fun. It's been a learning process.
Yeah, we have a little baby right now for those who are just joining us.
We do, yeah. Sorry if you're not up to speed. We just had our first child.
Yeah, she's with us right now, which is so weird.
Yeah, Caitlin's holding her, little Maddie. So yeah, it's been fun, but really, really challenging. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it has been hard.
We're exhausted.
I'm really exhausted. I love my sleep. I don't do well when I don't have a lot of it. And so it has been a miracle that I can function somewhat.
Yes, we've been surviving off caffeine for sure. But all that to say, she is the sweetest baby. Like, we are just over the moon with her.
Yes. But still
Caleb's tired.
Yes. It's just a lot. It's a lot to learn. They send you home. I know everyone talks about it, but they legit, you have this baby and they send you home with her or him, and you've got literally no idea what you're doing.
Right?
So we've had a lot of help from friends and family, which has been amazing.
For sure.
But still, even though they leave eventually, and you're not talking 24/7, and so you have to okay, we've got the next 12 hours to just figure this girl out.
Yeah, but I do feel like we are getting in the swing of things right now. Like, I feel like we're finally somewhat establishing a little routine with her. Like, we're starting to learn what her cries mean.
Yeah.
If she's hungry, is she just fussy? At the beginning, we were like, I don't know.
Yeah, she's just screaming at me and I don't know what to do. So yeah, we're trying to learn her, and it has been fun. So we're going to continue to do this. Again, this week, if you haven't already seen it in the title, our friends over at Happiest Hour on Earth, Chris and Emily, were kind enough to lend us basically an episode that we recorded with them a while ago. And we did the same for them. They just had another baby, their second little boy.
They did, little Beckham.
Little Beckham, and so he's adorable as well. But he, I don't know what I'm trying to say here. Chris actually had the brilliant idea of going, hey, let's just do an episode swap since we're both having babies and we're both going to be really busy.
Yeah.
We'll give you, the interview that we did with you guys and then vice versa. So we sent them an interview we did with them a little bit ago. So you're going to hear about the Disney Cruise Line and hear our awesome friends over there. And I hope you enjoy it. But before we do, I did want to give a huge shout out to all the amazing folks that participated in our Give Kids the World fundraiser.
Yes, you guys, we are so blown away by all your support. We actually went above and beyond our goal of $500, which is so amazing.
It is awesome. So thank you so much again. Even if you didn't give financially, thank you for supporting by sharing with your friends. And again, anything counts when it comes to supporting nonprofits and everything. So we appreciate all of you guys taking part in it. So, but a huge shout out to those who gave this last fundraiser. And let me go through the list here.
Perfect.
Emily and Clayton with Make It Magical podcast.
I always say Make It Magical Pod too.
Yeah, I was like, Make It Magical Pod. Christy Johnston, thank you so much for supporting the fundraiser. The Enchanted Ears podcast, Joe and Angela, huge shout out to you guys. Happier in the Magic, Ben and Chelsea, thank you so much. Janelle Schultz, a special shout out to Janelle. We hadn't hit our goal yet, and she came through with a extremely generous donation.
Yes.
And said, hey, you know what? I want to get you guys to your goal. So it's one less thing you guys have to worry about for the little girl and when she comes. And so that was super special. So thank you so much, Janelle, for your incredible support and also your very generous donation to Give Kids the World. And then finally, the people that made us go over the goal, which was amazing, Nick Deco and Johnny J from the DMSW podcast.
Huge shout out to everybody involved. Thank you again so much. As Caleb's already mentioned, this is one of the things that we've kind of wanted to make a tradition now with Market House every year. And it's just such a fun way to give back to just foundations like Give Kids the World. It's such a great opportunity. So Thank you so much.
Thank you. We'll do this again next year. Maybe we'll do the same org or possibly another nonprofit in the future. So stay tuned for that. But before we dive into the episode, one more thing. I think Caitlin wanted to give a huge thank you to everyone over on Instagram.
Yes, I just wanted to say thank you so much for all the well wishes, the support, and just the crazy amount of just checking in on us since the baby's been here. We cannot thank you all enough. Caleb and I were just blown away at all of the messages and just kind of comments that we received from all of you, just pouring out, just giving advice, checking in, seeing how we're doing. It seriously meant the absolute world to us that you guys cared enough to do that, and just that we have just one big family that is all just excited for us in this new chapter. So again, thank you all to everybody that just kind of just sent us well wishes and just sweet words. It really melted my heart.
Yeah, it felt good. Thank you so much for all of that. It means the world. Again, like when you're in the trenches, right? When you're in it. I don't want to make it sound whatever, but it's hard. Like we mentioned before, you're operating off very little sleep, and you're trying to take care of this little human being that you've got no idea what she needs. You're still learning as her as well. It's a lot, and so it's overwhelming. And so when we get those kind messages from you guys, it really does mean the world. So thank you so much.
Yeah.
We missed you. We can't wait to be back on the mic here pretty soon in the next week or two.
Yeah.
And again, stay tuned. We'll keep, if you're not following us over on Instagram, please do. That way we can announce stuff over there, and you can kind of stay tuned on what we're doing. Market House Podcast, you can follow us over there, and you should hear from us. But again, if all things go to plan, we will be back next week with a normal episode talking about the Christmas season and all that good stuff.
Yes, I'm so excited. Stay tuned for sure.
Stay tuned. All right. We'll see you later.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another Happiest Hour on Earth episode. We have a very special episode planned for tonight. We are going to be having Caleb and Caitlin on from Market House Podcast.
I'm so excited.
They're a fave of ours. Oh my gosh, they just put out amazing content. And if you didn't hear, we were actually on their podcast I guess a week and a half ago. I don't know, Thanksgiving.
So, yeah.
It was right before Thanksgiving, and that always throws off my schedule. But we were on their show, had such a blast with them.
Yeah, it was so fun.
Amazing people, and so we are so excited to get them on our show tonight. We're going to be talking about Disney Cruise Line and is it worth it? What can you expect, while you're on a cruise? And so they've been on multiple, and I cannot wait to hear from them tonight and give you guys some tips on some Disney Cruise Line.
And get some tips ourselves.
Yeah.
We have not been on a Disney cruise yet, and I'm very excited to hear what they have to say about it, because I know that they love it a lot.
I know. I really want to book one right now. We probably will right after we talk to them.
Probably.
They're going to convince us instantly. But before we get to that, Emily, can you introduce the drink to our listeners tonight?
Yes. We are officially getting into holiday drink and snack from the park at this point.
Yeah.
We're very excited, even though tonight's topic isn't really holiday based. It was still time to jump into seasonal beverages.
It'll be December by the time this episode comes out.
That's true. So technically it is officially Christmas season. So
for sure.
We're very excited about this drink. This is called the Gingerbread Mule, and it can be found at the Hollywood Lounge in California Adventure. Yeah. So we saw this one on the menu for seasonal offerings in Disneyland, and we knew this one had to be our first one that we made for the show.
Hollywood Lounge always pops off during the season. They're always like, well, might as well add 5 seasonal drinks. But I feel like nowhere else really does that. So
it's true.
Shout out to Hollywood Lounge.
I'm pretty excited to try this one. Let's give it a shot.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Wow, that's great. That really is good. Amazing.
That is really good.
That is really refreshing. You get a slight little bit of the gingerbread.
Some cinnamon,
oh my gosh.
Some lemon.
The cinnamon, because we're using the Fireball. It calls for cinnamon whiskey. Cinnamon whiskey, ginger beer, gingerbread syrup, lemon. The lemon, it's weird because usually you get it with lime. Lemon, I thought of hot toddy.
Yeah.
And so maybe that's why they chose the lemon over the lime.
I really like the flavor though.
Good.
It's really just, it tastes so like Christmassy.
Oh yeah, and so refreshing as a mule. Yeah. Ooh, I love that. Oh, that is so good. But yeah, before we jump into the show, I know that was just like the best thing ever. Really I just want to do a couple shout outs. We've been having so many amazing. We've been featured as guests. Guests have been coming on our show. There's just been a lot of love within the Disney community. Shout out to Cuckoo Culture, who was on our show a few weeks back. Market House, which we're going to have tonight, and we were on their show. Make It Magical Pod, that we did the crossover as well. We were on their show, they were on our show. Shout out to Johnny from DMSW. He just left us a review on Apple Podcasts. It means so much. Amazing podcast. Go check him out. All these people and a lot more people are just so amazing and
so supportive.
Yeah, I feel so loved within the Disney community.
Me too, and it's awesome to see that. There's no like, competition or like, just wanting all the listeners to come to you. It's like we genuinely just all want everybody to get as much exposure and support as they can, because it's just so fun to see all these pods and, just Instagram pages grow as much as they can. It's been so awesome.
It's been so great. Yeah. And speaking of guests, should we go ahead and call up Caleb and Caitlin?
Let's call them.
All right, let's do it. Caleb and Caitlin, oh my gosh, thank you so much for coming on to our show.
Hey guys. Oh my gosh.
Of course. Thanks for having us.
Yes, we are so excited. You have no idea. Again, we can't thank you enough. So
yes.
We're
ready
so
for this.
excited. We've been waiting for this. We're super pumped it finally happened, and we had the best time on your show a few weeks ago. So we've just been waiting for this one because we're so excited to hear about Disney cruises.
Yeah.
Can't wait to talk about it.
We are so excited.
Yes.
It's one of our
We've got a
favorite
lot
things
to talk
ever.
Yeah. I know. I think last week I mentioned it, but after we were on your guys' show and we like stopped the record, we just like hung out for a good long while and just like got to know each other even better. And it was just like the best time in the world. And so I'm so glad that we are having you guys on our show. It just really means so much to us. And ever since we connected, we were just like, these people are amazing. Like we have to collab, and it's finally here. So
I know.
So blessed to have you guys on the
You
show.
guys are so nice. Thanks so much.
Yay.
Awesome.
Hey, I'm so excited.
We're so pumped. So for any of our listeners who maybe haven't heard you guys before, maybe don't know about your show, can you let them in on who you are, what you talk about, all that good stuff?
Sure, yeah. So we're Market House Podcast, Caleb and Caitlin. So we're just two kind of young adults. I like to consider myself young still. But just talking Disney, honestly. We just, every week, we mostly focus on Disneyland only because that's our home park. We're in the Sacramento area, so that's local to us. I mean, local, as local as you can get, I guess. But we're Magic Key holders and also do Disney Cruise Line. We've been on a few of those, which we'll talk about today. And then Disney World. So, I mean, we try and cover all the Disney things, but mostly Disneyland.
Yeah.
So,
Awesome.
yeah.
I love it.
Love it. We
It's
love
fun.
your show.
Yeah, we really,
Thank
guys,
you. We love
anyone
yours.
listening to our show right now, you guys will love Market House Podcast. Honestly, once we found you guys and started listening, you guys are just enjoyable people to listen to. Great topics. I mean, just you have
so
everything you need for a podcast.
I think I pretty much listen to each new episode like the day it comes out. It's usually like
gosh.
I'll be like making
Thank
breakfast in
you.
the morning and I put it on because I just love to start my Mondays that way.
Oh, you guys are so nice.
That's seriously so funny because as I'm getting ready for work, I always listen to your guys.
I hear
It's
your
like the
guys'
first
voice
one.
every morning or every
morning.
not every morning. We're
Everyone,
kind of
that'd be
creeping
a
on you
very
guys.
busy show.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a lot of topics. to
Maybe
cover.
we'll get there in a year. Yeah, we're gonna coming to you live.
Yeah.
But actually, we started kind of around the same time. How did you guys actually get inspired to start your show? Because I know you guys were, I think, just a few months after us, right? We were like early 2021. And you guys were like summer-ish.
Yeah,
of 2021,
like
right?
late summer, September.
Okay.
So yeah, I'll start, and you can chime in. But we were actually, it started. It was of course we were kind of coming out of COVID, right? The lockdowns and stuff, and Disney had just opened, I think, in April that year, opened back up, and we were on a walk, and I turned to Caitlin and said, again, I didn't mention it to her through the pandemic, but I was like, I've just got like all this creative stuff going. We've got all this extra time because we're hanging out at home, and why don't we like find an outlet for that? And again, respect to you guys. You guys can do YouTube. I'm always like so scared and self-conscious to do it, only because I'm like, they're so mean on the internet. And so I was like, what's something I can hide behind a mic and not have a video on? And that was podcasting. So we chose that.
Yeah, we love it. And again, we're so obsessed with Disney. Again, we can get into it later, but like it started so young for us.
Yeah.
Like both of our parents are obsessed. So when we both found each other and we both equally love it, it was such a great way to like basically engage in this awesome Disney community because we are constantly having conversations about what do we love about Disney, like what's the current state of events, like what's the new movie that just came out, and just talking about it. So we thought this would be the best way to do that. And we have to say the community that we have found, including you guys, have just been so awesome. Like we have so many friends through Instagram, and it's been such a fun ride. Like I'm so glad we did it. So.
Isn't that awesome? It is so much fun. It's like, it's crazy how big that world is. Like, it blows my mind, like how many people we've met and gotten to be such close friends with. And it's such a fun community to be a part of.
Yeah.
I love it.
Sure. That, like you said, talking about current state of events with, anything that's happening within the Disney realm. What I love about your guys' show is that you do have like a fun snippet, just like the news that you need to hear every single week, everything. And there's been a lot of stuff recently with the Disney company that we need to know about. But you guys have like that segment, you have the shopping segment, you have your like main topic, and it's always just so fun. Your transitions are amazing too. I always just get so happy like hearing those transitions and the trivia segment. Yeah.
It's all so well done, you guys. Yeah. It's just such a fun show.
It's so fun. And one thing I love about you guys too is that you guys, I mean, I know a lot of our friends are like really big Disney people, but they like go to Disneyland or like Disney World. But you guys have done multiple cruises, and we've heard you guys talk a lot about the cruises. And so we're like, we have to get Market House on to just give us a little bit of an insight, because we have nothing to offer. We've never done a Disney cruise, but can you guys tell us a little bit about your past experiences with Disney Cruise Line? When was your first cruise? How many have you taken? What's been your favorite? All that good stuff.
Yeah. So the experience started in late 2018. So Caitlin grew up going on cruises as a little girl with her family. And so I think they kind of stuck to Carnival, right?
Yeah, we only did Carnival cruising.
And Caitlin would try to convince me right when we got married. She's like, we need to do a cruise. And she would explain what you do. And I was like, I can't get behind that. Doesn't sound fun to me. Like I can swim on land and I can eat down the street. Yeah. So I just never got the draw. And so when she mentioned Disney Cruise Line, I was like, okay, like this sounds more up my alley. We love Disneyland. And so after researching it, we booked our first cruise in we went on our first cruise in early 2019 for her birthday.
Yeah.
And,
and it was on the Dream, and it was a Bohemian cruise. So it went to Nassau and then Disney's private Castaway Cay, their island. Which is
oh my gosh.
amazing.
So yeah, we started with a 4-night. That was our first cruise, and I've been hooked since, and I like never thought I'd be like a cruise person, but now I'm like, sign me up. Like anytime we have the opportunity to go, we go. Then we went on the next one in 2020, about a year later, and then of course took a break because of COVID. And then we just recently went in September of this year. We went to Alaska.
Which was so amazing.
What was the 2021? Was that
another same exact itinerary? So Bohemian out of Port Canaveral. Yeah.
You're like, it's too amazing. We got to do it.
Exactly. We need to get a second taste of it.
It's like the best. And normally we tag on like Disney World for a couple of days, like 1 or 2 days prior. And there's just something about Castaway Cay. It's literally one of my favorite places on the earth. So
it's pretty unreal. So like, imagine Disney World, but like plop it on an island. It's pretty amazing. So
wow.
How many days do you usually get at Castaway Cay?
Usually 1, and they have ones called double dip cruises. They are a small fortune, and they're very hard to get, but they do exist. If you have the money and the availability, you can go on a double dip, and they go twice in one cruise, which is amazing. We've never done it, but it sounds fun.
Wow.
That's amazing.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
So is there like any major difference between the ships? Because you guys have been on a few of them. And do you have a favorite of the ones that you've been on?
Yeah. Well, we've only been on out of 5 now, right?
Out of 5 now.
5. We've only been on the Dream and the Wonder. And the Dream is a newer ship. Obviously, the Wish is the newest one. The Dream and Fantasy are the same size. And then the Wonder is one of the smallest and older ships. So currently with going on the Wonder, if I'm speaking for both of us, I would say the Dream was our favorite. We prefer the larger size ships. We kind of feel like there's more room to like move around and there's more stuff to do. And the Wonder was great. Nothing wrong with it. It looked amazing for being like an older ship. They kept really good care of it.
It came out in 1999, so it's pretty old.
Oh my
wow.
So we were quite surprised because we thought, it might be a little old looking, and again,
they've kept up. It looks
Disney
amazing
quality.
for its age.
Yeah.
But the one complaint we'd have, if we had to pick something, it would be The Wonder being the older ship, the like walls are thinner. We like pretty noticeably thinner. So like you can hear your neighbors a lot. And then if you're not an early riser, you're woken up by which are doing a great job, but the cleaning crew vacuums right outside your door at 7 a.m. every single morning. Ooh. So if you stay up late, you're up at 7.
Yeah, which we noticed like on exactly. We noticed on the Dream you can't hear like any of that.
Yeah.
Like the soundproofing, I guess you could say, is like way better. So,
so nice.
Again, it's something to keep in mind. Some people don't. It doesn't bother them. Like we've watched countless videos where they just use a like. What are they called? Like a sound machine, or people just sleep through it. We're very late sleepers, especially Caleb. So we can hear it. So you can just, what can you do, right? You're on the oceans. You just laugh about it. But it's great.
Yeah.
What are the, I mean, okay, so I think a lot of times people, when they think of cruise ships, they think small rooms, kind of like compact, all this stuff. And hearing about the, what was it? The Wonder that had like, thin walls.
Yeah.
With the newer ship, being on the Dream, is there any size difference? Is there any like, I don't know, are the rooms nicer and more updated? Are they comfortable? Is there like a? Do you guys usually do the kind of like the inside staterooms or like the ones with the little porthole so you can kind of see outside? Like,
no, we always shoot for. So the first 2 cruises we did a veranda, which is a fancy word for balcony.
Nice.
And which is really nice. It's very, very nice. For the Alaskan cruise, we did just the porthole. Let me tell you something crazy. The difference between, so the Alaska sailing it starts off very expensive. It only gets more expensive if you do a balcony. It was a $2,400 difference between a porthole room and a balcony room. So we elected for the porthole.
Yeah, porthole.
I was like, fresh air, who needs it?
Let's go up to the top deck.
Exactly. And it wasn't like a small porthole. Like it was pretty big.
It was big. It was, nice. Nothing to scoff at. It was a great room, but Disney's known for their larger staterooms. So I've gotten curious to see, like what do the Royal Caribbean rooms look like? What do Carnival rooms look like? What have you? And Disney, at the end of the day, probably I would argue 25% larger.
Yeah, I would agree.
Really?
Yeah, so they're pretty spacious. Now, it's just the 2 of us in a room. If you slapped 5 people, it would be tight.
Yeah.
Okay.
But if it's just, I would say it's comfortable like up to 4 people.
Oh, that's awesome.
For a room.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And so talking about like the different types of cruises, I know, Caitlin, you said that did you used to go every year with your family or just kind of like sporadically when you were younger?
My family loved Carnival. We'd always go to Mexico Carnival.
Oh, that's so fun.
Party ship.
Yes. At age like 6 or 7. Yeah, it was great. So I do have, I think we went until I was around like 13. So age like 6 to 13, we'd go pretty much almost every year. But yeah, there's been, from what I've seen, there's vast differences between Carnival. And again, there's nothing wrong with Carnival.
Yeah.
It's from the ships that I've been on, they're primarily a little on the older side. But Disney, again, it comes with a cost. But Disney, what we've noticed and kind of accumulated is they hold their standards. So everything is always well kept. The staterooms don't have like bunches of hair like you would find in like Carnival, like on the ground, which we have. I'm not just making that up. It's just gross.
Yikes.
And like the showers and stuff are always super clean. Like everything is wiped down and sanitized, and just the beds are there's no stains anywhere. Like we've had a couple friends who, wasn't there like mold? Like on the carpet?
We had friends that went on a cruise on a cruise line, and there was like straight up like mildew.
Yeah.
Like, no, pretty nasty.
With Disney, it's kind of gross.
But back up. Yeah. So I'd hate to bash on the parks at all. I know we all there's issues with them right now, but like what the parks have like kind of slacked on, the cruise line is, from our experience, have really kept up. So cleaning's still like a number one priority. Everything works, right? There's no really broken things on the ship. It's a beaut. So
that's what I was wondering too, because
oh, go ahead.
Whenever I think of Disneyland as a park, I mean, obviously, like you said, they have been slacking a little bit on certain things. But, if you go to Disneyland and then you go to like Six Flags or something like that, there's a vast difference of like how that park is maintained. And so it's cool to hear that even when it comes to the cruise industry, Disney still has that reputation and still, has that pristine kind of look, because, Walt always wanted it to be this place that did not seem like another theme park and gross and dirty, and like kept that standard. So even
I'm
within
glad
the cruise
to hear
space,
that the cruise line wants to maintain that too. That's awesome to hear.
Yeah. It's pretty, I mean, again, it's pretty eye-opening, because I feel like all cast members are awesome no matter where you are with Disney. But on the cruise line specifically, I truly feel they go above and beyond for literally anything. Like this, we had our suitcase wheel broke off when it got delivered to our room, and they called us and were like, "Hey, just want to let you know we replaced your wheel for you." When we went into our stateroom, there was a big basket with like Rice Krispie treats and gluten-free food for Kayla.
It was like above and beyond. Again, I didn't even notice it was broken until they said, "Oh, hey, we broke your wheel on accident.
Yeah.
We replaced it, and here's all these free goodies." It was like so nice.
It's just so kind again for them to do that.
That
so
is
just
awesome.
little things like that you kind of like
Paying
notice,
attention
and you're
to
like,
the
wow.
details.
Yeah.
For sure.
I love that. That's awesome. So what would you guys say that like your perfect day at sea looks like? Because obviously you get to stop off and do excursions and stuff, but like on the ship, what are some of the things that you have to do? Like what are some of the fun activities on the boat?
Yeah, so if you're on the Dream, let's just play We're on the Dream, okay? That's my perfect day. We're on the Disney Dream, and honestly, a ride on the Aqueduct?
Aqueduct.
I forget the name of that. So that is the onboard like water slide, and it is pretty awesome. So it like jets you out over the side of the boat in a clear tube, so it looks like you're going over the ocean.
It's amazing.
And it brings you back around. It is a blast. It's really fun. So definitely a ride on that for me, just to wake up in the morning. And then
Start your day out.
And then
thrill.
honestly, probably like doing a spa like appointment. Caitlin and I did a massage for the first time on our last cruise. It was life changing, absolutely life changing. They kept.
Amazing.
I don't know if it was a compliment. They kept calling Caitlin, "You look like Lindsay Lohan," except not her personality. And I was like, I don't. Have you seen what Lindsay Lohan looks like? I don't think.
That's so
They were sweet, but I think they were
who've been in
confused.
Disney movies.
Yes, it was so
To you,
funny.
they're like, "You look like Jamie Lee Curtis." You're like, "Are you just
Right?
like Freaky Friday mode? What's happening?"
Just
That's only
anyone who
Disney
came to mind.
Yeah, it was so funny because they were so sweet. They just kept like talking to us and like smiling at us, and then it got like really quiet, and they're like, "You look like Lindsay Lohan."
I was like, okay,
Without
that's
the
interesting.
personality, I'm like, okay.
Out of left
Without the
field.
personality. What the?
Yeah. I was like, I don't know how to take that, but can we get a massage now? So yeah, it was a little weird, but it was a great experience. So
They're
yeah,
amazing.
I think just relaxing, and then also I think grabbing. They have there's an adult only part of the ship called
Ooh,
Quiet Cove.
Quiet Cove.
Sorry,
Like,
jeez, Quiet Cove
That sounds
Cafe,
like a place,
and it is a like espresso bar. So they've got
oh, Cove Bar.
Cove Bar. That's what it is. I'm making up words over here. So they have a bunch of different espresso drinks and stuff. So I think just sitting there with a nice coffee and drinking a book, reading a book. I'm gonna switch back to English now. Reading a book sounds amazing.
Yeah, it's nice
my
too because
gosh.
it's like again just to touch on like the little things that they do. Like they put little Disney characters on your coffee, which sounds
my
crazy, but it's like on
gosh.
top
Oh,
of the
wow.
foam. Like
Yeah.
they
Is
have
that
this
the oh my
machine.
God.
Yeah,
That's so
I
cool.
think the last one we got like Minnie and Mickey. Like they can do like Avengers character. It's amazing. But
Wow.
yeah, and then we're gonna finish the day off with getting some chicken strips up on the deck because the chicken strips
Yes.
they're out of this world. Even
Yeah.
the gluten-free ones, they're so good. I'm pretty sure we had them multiple times a day.
Yeah. Let's not mention that. Yeah.
You find that
But-
favorite food, you stick
It's
to
You just
so
have to
good.
partake. And when, again, it's not free, right? You paid to be on it.
Right.
But when
Yeah.
the food is prepaid for essentially and all you can eat, it is so hard not to take advantage of it. So there's a lot
Oh
of
yeah.
And
Might
one
as
thing
well.
that we did notice too, in comparison with other cruise lines, is Disney includes the drinks and like the soft drinks, not alcohol, with
Yeah.
the price of the cruise. So like
Oh,
with
that's
Carnival, you
nice.
had to pay for a drink package that includes all your soda. So
Yeah.
with Disney, you
all
just
included.
go up and get whatever you want. So it's awesome.
Oh, that's
wow.
so nice.
So-
That is
And then-
awesome.
Yeah.
So is there, because I went on a cruise, I've been on 2 cruises before when I was younger, but there was probably like 75% of it was like the free restaurants, and then the other 25% was like that higher scale that you do have to
Sure.
pay a little bit extra for. Is that kind of like the ratio you guys have seen with Disney Cruise Lines? Like maybe there's a restaurant that, you know, is like a steakhouse or something, and then you do have
Yeah.
to pay that low extra, but it's kind of nice to have that.
So the cool thing about Disney is you don't feel like you're getting downgraded. They created a thing called rotational dining. So you actually eat in 3 different restaurants throughout your cruise, and they're all included for sit down. So
cool.
like on the Dream, you'll go to Animator's Palette, which is themed after like an animator's room. And so there's
So
screens all over showing
cool.
different animations. It's
Oh my
amazing.
Love that.
The second restaurant you'll do is Enchanted Garden, which is it feels like you're at a French like market kind of thing. And this is the crazy thing: while you're eating, it starts off at dusk, so all the chandeliers are open. Yeah, open and like orangey.
Are they closed?
Maybe, I don't know. But they're open or closed. It's just envision this with me. And then as the meal goes along and when you end it, I think they close up. They close up and they're like a purple, like dark color. So it looks like flowers are like closing up for the night. And so the restaurant slowly changes. And then the final one is Royal Table.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, which is like their Cinderella themed restaurant. So that's all included in the cruise fare, which is amazing. And then, of course, all the grab and go stuff's included. And then the only two paid options are restaurants called Palo and Remy. Palo's like an Italian restaurant. It's, I think, like, how much is it now? $49 a head?
I think so. They just changed it.
Yeah, they just upped the price a little bit. But it is worth every single penny if you guys want a date night.
And it's $49, and then you just get like everything
included.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
Wow.
Yes, except for alcohol. If you want alcohol,
I was
you
gonna
have
say
to
probably.
Yeah.
Bottom of the street.
It cost them $400. Yeah, but it is so good. Very good food. Again, Italian steakhouse, and then Remy is a French cuisine restaurant. That one's pricey. That one's close to like I think $100 and something a person.
Yeah, it's very fancy and very pricey.
It's 3 hours. It's a 3-hour experience. So you have to have a full night of food. We've never done it just because I don't want to eat for 3 hours, but for some people love that stuff. So
Like a long night of food.
Do you get to see Remy the rat at any?
You
does
don't.
he come out
He's
dressed
all
up
over.
to your...
Comes over and
"How's
feeds
your
you
food,
escargot. Yeah. No, so they have him, of course, like decorate. You know, he's kind of hidden everywhere throughout the restaurant, but he does not make an appearance.
I wish it was almost like the Wish with, I think it's Enchante, where it's like all Beauty and the Beast themed, where it's like Cogsworth is out, Lumiere is out, but like Remy is very distinct. It's very like, we don't want you to know you're in like a Ratatouille themed restaurant. So
I was like, that would kind of throw you off a little bit if you pay like $150 for a meal and then all of a sudden Remy the rat's like coming to your table. You're like, this, like the tones are super different here.
It's like Chuck E. Cheese, but with fancy food. Yeah,
exactly.
This is the fanciest Chuck E. Cheese I've ever been to.
That's so funny. Oh my
gosh, that is way
Sounds
too good.
Fancy.
So you guys are childless millennials,
correct?
And I do know there's a bit. We were them for a while until out popped their little baby. But so for the childless millennials who are like big Disney fans and maybe want to experience a Disney cruise, but every time they think of it, they just imagine little kids running around everywhere and like them not having a relaxing time. What have you experienced on a Disney cruise? And is it kind of like that? And is there any like adult activities? I know that you mentioned the Quiet Cove coffee.
Yes.
Is that right? Yeah. I know that's one of them, but like what, is there a lot of like crazy kids all the time? And like, can you break away and do some adult activities? What's been your experience there?
Yeah, so it's funny. We actually get that question a lot, especially with family and friends, because when they hear Disney, they're like, oh, okay, it's going to be just consumed with children. And that's been actually the complete opposite. Disney Cruise Line like prides themselves off of the
kids clubs.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, so they are like, they're so cool. They do an open house on the first night. They're so cool that like I'd want to spend
I would totally go
4 hours there. It is unbelievable. They get to like, first of all, there's like meet and greets, just like the parks, but like all day for them. So like, it'll be noon, and Cinderella's like helping feed them lunch.
Yeah.
And then,
oh my gosh.
yeah, a couple hours later, and I don't know, like Woody might make an appearance. It is so crazy cool. In the meantime, they're like able to do like arts and crafts, of course. They're able to watch Disney movies. They've got all these activities at any age group up until 17 years old.
Yeah, and they're all the different rooms are all themed. So like one of the rooms on one of the cruise ships is themed like Andy's room. So there's like a big slide that's like Slinky Dog that they can go down. And it's
One's
super
a Star
incredible.
Wars one, so like it looks like you're the Millennium Falcon, like piloting it.
It's
unbelievable.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yes. So
this should be
cool
for the
enough for adults. Yeah. So you can imagine like the kids want to be in there all day. So yes, there may be a lot of kids on board, but they're in the kids clubs like 9 hours out of the day.
Yeah.
So kids got their own spot to be at. Adults have their own adult only section of the ship. So there's a pool there. There's a full bar, the coffee shop like we mentioned before. Lounge chairs, and that's all sectioned off for adults. So you can definitely escape the kids if you want to, or also just be a family and hang out all together. So it is absolutely amazing. The best of both worlds, quite honestly.
That's awesome. Sounds very well rounded. A lot.
Yeah,
for
and
do.
we have a couple of friends who like people we know who bring their kids on the Disney Cruise Line, and they never want to leave like the kids clubs. Like they're always begging their parents, like, can we go back?
Yeah.
Like, and they're like, no, like I want you to hang out with me. But so it's awesome. Like it's when we have a little one day, like it makes my heart like happy knowing that all these other kids love it so much.
Yeah.
So
That's so awesome.
it's awesome.
Very cool.
Yeah, the cool thing is because we've done like, trips in other countries and all this stuff, and it's like we can't do that. Like when we have a kid, like so much traveling, so much moving, and all this stuff. And then we've been like, cruises sound awesome because like you don't have to move your luggage from place to place. You're just kind of all there and everything.
home base.
But the fact that there's also like a kids designated room is also just like a major perk because they could hang out. You could get a little bit of time. You think of cruises, you think of relaxing and not
For sure.
100% spending time with your kid. I mean, kids are great, but like a little bit of a relaxing,
a little break,
well.
right?
So, yeah. So that sounds amazing that there's options like that. What you were saying, like just about it's not overwhelming with all the kids and all that stuff. I'm curious, like the parks, Disneyland, it just seems so crowded all the time. With a cruise, you have like a cap. I know that the parks have a capacity limit as well. But
doesn't feel like
does it seem a little less crowded going from place to place on a Disney cruise line than it is in a park? Like the thought came to mind, like
feel?
Walking around the cruise ship, if it was like as crowded as Disneyland, sounds a little tough. Can you notice a difference there when you're on a cruise?
Yes. So I'm going to be 100% honest with you guys. My first cruise, which was that first one in 2019 on the Disney Dream, I was like so overwhelmed the first day because there's nowhere to go, right? Everyone gets on the cruise ship. The only thing you can do that night is eat dinner. So in the meantime, everyone's out walking around. So I was super overwhelmed going, what did I do? I made a huge mistake. It feels like Disneyland on a ship. This is not going to be fun. I can't escape it, right? I can't get my car and drive away. You're on this thing. So I was super overwhelmed. The next morning, everyone like dissipates, right? Kids go into kids clubs.
Yeah.
People go into theater shows. They go into Disney trivia. So everyone kind of goes and sections off into different areas of the ship. And then it becomes a ghost town in 70% of the ship, I'd argue.
Wow.
Top deck always feels Disneylandish. There's a lot of kids up there, a lot of families walking around.
Like around the main pool.
But other than that, if it is amazing. They've done a really good job at capping and keeping it still pleasant, but fitting, enough people on there.
Yeah.
It does not feel like a busy day at Disney. Not at all.
It's awesome.
That is so great to hear.
That's awesome.
Sometimes we just we love the park so much, but it's like, oh my gosh, like there's not even room for me to walk. Yeah, so that's
100%. Totally get it.
Yeah.
And on that note, we feel like, a lot of Disney fans out there are kind of more like park people. Like they're kind of loyal to the parks, whether it's Disneyland or Disney World. So for anyone that's kind of that way, what are like some reasons you would say that like choosing the cruise line is a better option? Or are there cons to being on the cruise as well? Or like what would you say to anyone that's like wavering?
Again, we love both. It would be hard to choose one or the other, but I would have to say if you want full relaxation and you really want to dive deep into that, I would highly recommend the cruise. Disneyland we all love, but it's not always a vacation. It's super stressful in moments. You're bumping people are shoving you, you're getting hit with strollers. And like things might not be working on your phone to do like your Genie or Lightning Lane, whatever. But like the cruise, like we've said on our podcast, is one of the most relaxing experiences we've ever had. And it truly feels like we unplug. Like when we're on there and we're able just to like focus on each other, and it's awesome. So
it is really fun. So like I would imagine like, and you guys have been a million times, but Disneyland is truly like it's a trip, right? I had to consider the cruise like a vacation. You don't have cell service, right? And you're honestly fully consumed to Disney magic the entire time. You can pre-book stuff if you want, right? You can pre-book experiences and port adventures, which is their fancy word for excursions. But if you don't do any of that, you still have a fantastic time. Unlike the parks right now where, there's a lot of planning that goes into it. And if you don't do it, it's not a fun experience.
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
Yeah,
that's
I
so
would,
great to hear.
coming from a non-cruise person, Disney Cruise has converted me to a full-on fan. So
we love it.
Love
As
it.
far
Love
as
to
like
hear it.
cons go, I would say the only thing that's kind of a bummer sometimes is the price of Disney Cruise Line, because it is
For sure.
exponentially more expensive than like other cruises. Again, it depending on our personal experience, we think it's completely worth it. But it does come with a cost, and it is something that we do have to save for. And so that's the only
when it comes to like, obviously Disney theme park tickets are so expensive, and then the hotels are so expensive too. And then all the food that you're like paying for there, obviously like Disney fans are all about the food. You're going to get everything. You're going to be paying a lot for all that stuff.
Yeah.
Obviously it's going to be more expensive to do a cruise, but would you say that that kind of like levels out the playing field a little bit when you're like not paying for a hotel, you're not paying for,
and you're getting a more relaxing overall.
It totally does.
Out of it.
Totally does, especially now. You asked me that 2 or 3 years ago, I probably would have been like, it's a toss up.
Yeah.
Now, where the states of the parks are at, and Disney cruise prices haven't skyrocketed yet. I don't knock on wood, but for sure. So you're right. If it hurts, it stings a little more because you're prepaying, right? You're prepaying for your food. You're prepaying for your hotel. So it hurts a little more, but you're 100% correct. It does all even out. And I would argue you probably do get a little more value now on the cruises and the parks.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like less variables, right? Like it's easier to save for something like that because you're like, okay, at least I know that, the food's included, all this stuff, where when you're in the park, sometimes you're just like, like this sounds good right now. And then after your trip, you're like, oh, I spent like $1,000 on food. I love Disney snacks. Same
here.
It's crazy. So it's kind of nice knowing that everything's included.
Exactly.
And all that stuff. So that's great. But would you have any tips for our listeners on how they could fully maximize their magic on a Disney Cruise Line? Whether that's like, things they should hit first thing in the morning, or like, what ship to do, or any like excursions or areas. Like, what are some tips that our listeners who are kind of wavering on should I do one or not, could just kind of tap into and really enjoy their cruise a lot more?
Yeah, I mean, my number one thing, I'll let him speak more to it because he plans all the cruises. But one thing I do recommend is if you are considering doing a cruise with Disney, is making sure that you jump on the dates right when Disney releases them, because it is the cheapest they will ever be. So again, and sometimes with like when you're buying airline tickets, you're like, I'm going to wait a little bit because they'll go down, they'll run a sale. That's not how Disney Cruise Line does it. It's usually the first day is the cheapest they'll ever be, unless it's some weird circumstance where they can't fill the cruise or whatever.
Which is rare. They're always fully booked. So
that's a good point. But
yeah. So for sure, like Caitlin said, book it immediately. And Disney Cruise Line's always good about announcing like a few weeks in advance, like, hey, we're going to release these new dates, right? About like 16 to 18 months in advance is when they'll release new dates. For sure, book it immediately to save money. And then as well, like when you're on the ship, honestly, I would say go with the flow. If it's your first cruise with Disney, definitely go for one of the larger ships. There's a lot more room to run around. The kids are going to appreciate the larger kids clubs, and you're going to appreciate the updated staterooms, and just everything's a little newer, right? And those old ships are getting old. They have done a great job keeping them up, but they're still old at the end of the day.
1999.
It is an old ship. And then the first one I think was like 97.
Yeah.
The Magic. So that thing is a floating.
Yeah. I'm trying to think.
It's ready to retire.
The other,
It should be,
The other thing that I would recommend is once you do, I mean, again, it's based on picking the cruise on which one, like ship wise, whether it's the Dream, the Fantasy, the Wonder, the Magic, the Wish. Yeah. It's based totally on preference and where they're going. Because like currently, like I think the Dream next year is going to be doing, is it the Mediterranean?
Yeah, the rumors are going to move to the Mediterranean. So they're actually moving finally a larger ship to cover Europe and all that good stuff.
So again,
so awesome.
that's mainly based on like where you want to go destination wise. But one thing is when you do choose which cruise line you're going to be going on or cruise ship, I would really dive into like the excursions or possible like things that you can do. Like for Alaska, those go super quick. So really researching that ahead of time to make sure that you can nail your spot. And then also for like the Bohemian ones who don't have a ton of excursions, like if you want to get, what are they, like the things on Castaway Key? You can get a cabana, which those normally go super quick.
But you can rent like these fun like bike things that you can bike on the water. They're like it's like a biking boat.
Awesome.
It's very weird.
That is awesome.
Or if you want to go in like the spa, like those book up. So like again, planning ahead like what you want to do so you know. So when that window opens up, you're able to get a couple things.
Yeah, and my final piece of advice would be for your first one, I'm very value conscious, so I always book through Costco because they give you the most value back. So like you'll get like a
nice.
$300 gift card after you get off the cruise if you book through them.
Oh my gosh.
Which is huge savings.
Is that
And
a gift card for Costco or Disney?
Costco.
Okay, for Costco. Okay.
Yep.
Grab your
And you know how
groceries,
Costco trips are.
That's
We went last
awesome.
night and it was a small fortune. on
Costco.
food. And so it helps when you have those gift cards. But I would argue your first one, you're going to get a little less value cash wise. But I would advise someone to use a travel agent, a Disney one. There's a ton of concierge is one I've heard of, and there's a million of them. But I would say they would be a great resource. Again, if you're not just getting a bunch of cash back, you're getting their knowledge, right? They'll book things for you.
Sure.
Like reservations.
They'll teach you the ways of the Disney Cruise Line for your first one at least.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's
That's a
awesome.
good point.
Really good to know.
That's a really good. Yeah, because we've had a lot of people that we've connected with that are travel agents, and it's just great because you don't have to really think too much about it.
Exactly.
When those days come that it's the excursion you want to
Exactly.
experience. They're on it. You don't have to stress about it.
So
that's
cool.
great.
Yep.
Yeah.
And don't you
We have
like
to-
with travel agents? Don't you like
You don't even pay
you don't
them.
pay them.
Yeah,
Disney
so
pays
No.
them, right?
No.
Yeah, they get like
So cool.
commission off of it. So
Yeah, which is
definitely
awesome because
that's a
they
great
do
point.
so many like amazing.
They do a lot of
things for
stuff. That's a
you.
lot of work. Like
Yeah.
calling the
Yeah.
cruise line, being aware of all those dates and times, that is a lot. So they deserve
Yeah, I
every
don't know how
dollar
they
they
do
get. Yeah.
It's crazy.
lot to
Yeah,
keep
we
track
want to
of.
Yeah.
get a travel agent on sometime. Just kind of
Yeah.
do some.
Yeah.
That's a
some
great
tips
idea.
on how to save,
Pick their
and
brain.
how to do all this stuff.
Yeah.
and, yeah,
But
and
they've
then
got a lot of good knowledge.
They really
They do.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, I mean, that kind of concludes the cruise line questions that we had for you guys. Thank you for
Awesome.
all the tips and all your knowledge. It was so fun to
yeah.
hear about it. But
of course.
we also always do a little segment when we have guests on to hear just kind of more about you guys and just do a couple little quick fire questions. So
awesome.
we'll just do a few of those. The first one we have is, how did your love for Disney start? Which we kind of know a little bit about already, but maybe just dive in a little bit more.
Sure.
You
go first.
Okay. So as I've stated before, my parents were obsessed with Disney. Like I think my first Disney trip was Walt Disney World, and I was like a little baby. Like my parents were those people who like took me super young, and it kind of just developed over time. And then meeting this guy over here, it kind of just grew exponentially because we love it so much. I just feel like that love just went way up after we start, because again we start going together, and then you start creating your new Disney memories, which is so magical. And I'm just so thankful that you love Disney. So bad.
Yeah, that would have been.
But yeah, so yeah, basically
we
since
know
I was
some-
born.
Yeah, we know some
Awesome.
couples where they are on different pages about it, and I'm like,
Yeah.
how are you guys together?
Yeah.
Oh, I feel like
Now, how does that all work? Yeah.
that'd be so hard.
It's a lot of
Yeah.
compromising.
And
crazy.
mine started a little later than Caitlin. Again, as a toddler, I went to Disney. I don't remember it, but I was like around 3 years old in Disney World. We lived in Orlando for a little bit. But it officially started when I went with a family friend when I was 11 years old, and absolutely fell in love with the parks, and like, started ordering books about Imagineers. I was the dork who was
my
like reading
gosh.
up about like, do you know who this person created this ride and stuff? So I was that annoying kid that was like, fun fact, this ride was, $200 million to make.
Love it.
That's so great.
Yes. And I was very confident. Quick story time. I was so confident in my knowledge that my parents took us as a family after I came home and talked about it nonstop for like 6 months. They said, forget it. We're taking the family. Let's go. So they took us, and they did it big. We did the Grand Californian. I got to give them credit.
my
We did it
gosh.
like right. But I was so confident.
crazy.
I said, Dad, I don't need a map. I'll lead you around the park. I was that confident. I'd only been once. I got lost and like couldn't get them to Small World. And my dad was so upset. It's hot outside, and he's like, where's this ride at? And I'm like, oh, I think it was back here. So
You really should have gotten a map.
I'm like, yeah, I'll take that map. I'll take that
like
map.
when you're like 11 years old, you're like, no, I don't need a map. Like,
Exactly. I don't need
That's so
directions. Yeah.
So funny.
That's so fun. And like you guys said, like being able to experience it when you're young and with your family is so amazing and so great. But when you find like your significant other and like just create those memories together, it
yeah.
like brings on a different
level.
of just like magical experiences. And
Yeah.
we've talked before, and like you guys were about 16 right when you guys started dating, and same with us too. Like just being able to go
Have
as
all those
teenagers
memories
and-
over the years.
Yeah,
So special.
it really is so
amazing.
special. Oh, it's so
love
good.
It is fun. Remember when we held hands on that ride?
Yeah.
Got some of those
Dude,
too.
I remember when we were on your guys' show, we talked about like the awkward first pictures at Disney.
Yes.
We still
Oh
have
my
to post
gosh.
those.
Yeah.
We need to
I
share
think
those.
The community
We need
needs
to.
to see
We
that.
do.
it's
They're so
as
bad.
embarrassing as
We'll
it
do a
is.
voting thing, like a poll on our Instagram stories.
is worse?
Whose is more awkward?
Oh my
too?
gosh. I don't know. Ours
Ours
is
pretty
like
bad.
we're in the
I look like I don't want to be there, even though I wanted to. I was
No.
like
no,
half
yeah.
smile
It's the awkward like we're dating, but it's
Yeah.
like weird
in front of her
still.
parents. Like
And my mom
Yeah,
taking
yeah,
the photo.
yeah.
She's
Ours is like
like,
that
"Hey, cheese."
too.
Yeah, because it was like our parents taking the photos, so it was like
Exactly.
We
weird.
don't know
It's
how to
like,
pose. We don't want to look like
Yeah.
lovey-dovey, but like,
oh yeah,
Yes.
it's
Yes.
very cringeworthy. Very cringeworthy.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
The matching
I think we're gonna have to post
sweatshirts.
these.
Yep.
The whole thing.
Yeah.
So
Oh
we'll
my
have to
bust them
post
out.
it.
Let's bust them out.
Yes, we
yeah,
do.
the world
Oh my
needs to
gosh.
see.
Speaking of amazing Disney memories, like the cringe moments that we're talking about, what has been your favorite Disney memory? Whether that's together or when you're younger. Yeah.
I
Yeah,
love
we
this
do.
question.
You go first.
Okay. Wait, well, I kind of cheated because I have two. I hope that's okay.
Only one. That's right.
I'm like, okay.
That's right. Leave the water.
So the first one happens actually over at DCA, and it was our first time going to Lamplight Lounge, which we're
Oh.
obsessed with.
Mm-hmm.
And after we went and had dinner there, we decided to. I love Pixar Pier, so I'm like, let's go walk around Pixar Pier. It's like dark, all the lights are on, and it was our first time. We got chocolate caramels in the Bing Bong store, which is my favorite, and they're one of our most favorite desserts to eat. And I remember just walking around eating them, like talking. Like it sounds so weird, but
Yeah.
it was so magical. And I think we were standing next to the, what is it called? I always want to call it the Wheel of Death. but
The
it's
Wheel
not.
of Death.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, Mickey's
Pixar
not
Pal
Mickey's Fun
Around?
World. Pixar Pal Around.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
So that
So
was
scary.
a special moment. I love that.
Yeah, and it's like what you do when you're older,
Sometimes it's
right?
just
Like,
those moments.
yeah, as adults, like you instead of like going to ride rides, you just sit there and talk about life while
Yeah.
eating candy.
Which
Yeah.
is all I could ever want and more. And then the second one, we've always had a dream of staying at the Westin. It's been like one of our top things ever to do. It's always been on like our bucket list. And he surprised me one time, and I remember when we went up to the room, I was just being so excited, and we had like this little balcony that kind of overlooked DCA. And I remember again, I sound so old, but I'm like, we were just sitting out on the balcony just talking. And I remember being like, this is such a dream come true moment, and just being able to see like the Incredicoaster and like all the lights. It was one of the most amazing experiences ever. So thank you.
That
for
is
course.
so. Oh
I
my
love
gosh,
that.
it was so great. I love Pixar Pier at night. Yeah, it's so.
It's
Yeah,
so
that
beautiful.
is magical. Even if it wasn't like in the park, it's still just like a moment that you
Yeah.
remember from that trip.
Yes.
I feel
sure.
like we have a lot of those too.
Wow, that is
Yes.
so amazing.
So
Yeah.
special.
Yeah. Oh wow.
What's
okay.
yours?
No pressure.
I know. That's
I'm
incredible.
gonna have to go. I'll have to go. I two came to mind, but my number one probably is actually I'm gonna say East Coast, which is I'm going against myself as a Disneyland faithful. But I took Caitlin for the first time that she could remember. Right, she went as a little girl, but I took her for the first time in 2019.
I think so.
And seeing her face when she saw the castle for the first time, like the big castle, she was like,
Yeah.
"Oh my gosh!" Like overwhelmed. So that was fun. I like seeing her face just like light up, like, "Oh, this is the one I see on movies and stuff."
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
sweet.
I love that. One thing that they do, like that they just crush at Disney World. I remember the first time we ever went in and saw that castle, just like
Yeah.
you, is
Gigantic.
it's gigantic. But then we went for a rope drop. And their rope drop, they did like fireworks
Oh,
in
yes.
the morning.
It's
They like
so
yes,
amazing.
them behind the castle. And I was
Yeah.
like, what a great way to start your
Yeah.
Disney trip. This
Right?
is amazing. Where
was
Disneyland,
perfect.
just people crowded in, and then they like rushed to
Yeah.
Rise of the Resistance.
Yeah.
And everyone's just kind of like
Exactly.
angry.
Not as
and being
special.
like,
Very
Not as
different
magical.
experience.
Still love you, Disneyland. But yeah, do you want to get the next
I
one?
love that. Yeah. Okay. Next one. Favorite Disney ride.
Ooh, that's a good
I guess
one.
either park.
I'm gonna go Haunted Mansion. It would have been Indiana Jones back in the day. The older I get, the more brittle the bones get, and so that ride's a little rough on me now.
Yep.
But definitely
that.
Haunted Mansion. Yeah, I've come to appreciate like the backstory behind that ride and how it got built, and it's just it's a fun one.
I love it though. 'Cause when
Awesome.
he's on Indiana Jones. He's like excited, so he's kind of like half screaming, and then you hear him go, "Oh my gosh!" Ow. Like, ow. Yeah, it's so funny. But you know what? Last time when you guys were on our podcast, we talked about this as well, and I told you it changes all the time. It has, and it's currently Indiana Jones. So I kind of go back and forth between that one and Haunted Mansion. It just depends on the days. But right now, like ever since we talked about it last week, I've been thinking about it, and I'm like, I want to go on that ride. And have everything work. But
so good. Oh my gosh.
We're literally wearing. I'm wearing the Indiana Jones shirt, and she's
Are you really? Oh, let's go.
You're
Representing.
guys. Yeah. Plan that.
You guys
Hard
knew.
Cheese has not created your favorite pirates,
Yeah,
so they need a pirates
about
one.
it the other
but-
day. I was like, man, they haven't made a pirate shirt. I would love to see what
that would be awesome.
Yeah, pirates.
Yeah,
is,
I have
is so
the Haunted
classic.
Mansion one. I love it.
I love it.
Yeah, it's so
Yeah,
it's so
shirt.
sick.
I'm like
love it.
obsessed with it.
But yeah, no, I feel you guys. Haunted Mansion is such a classic, amazing
Right.
ride. I love the
is.
two different tones. You know, as we were watching the Imagineering story, and they talk about like, you know, one of them wanted to go more kind of scary, one of them wanted to go more funny, and then it brought about this like crazy
Behind the
ride.
attraction. That's the one
Oh,
that
was that
really
behind
dives
yeah, they
into
dive
that.
into it
Yeah.
even more. Yeah, it's so cool. And then Indiana Jones. So awesome. My bones are also brittle. I've been going to a chiropractor.
All right.
So he's been cracking me up good. But I feel like I could handle that one. But Matterhorn.
Matterhorn,
Oh my God.
yeah. I feel like we
Oh,
skip it
one
more and
I
more, which
can't
is so
do.
sad. Because it's such
It's
a
such
classic.
I
one.
don't
It
know how
hurts.
Walt wrote it when he was
Painful.
like in his.
Because
60s, and
imagine
I'm
like
like,
how
oh,
much
I even had
even like
20s,
more shaky and jerky it was back
Right?
then.
That one, we made the mistake of going in the very back the last time we went on that. And it
Oh,
was
it's miserable, and I like it
painful.
hurts. I don't think it's healthy. It like hurts the base of your skull. I'm like, I think I'm gonna
Yeah.
like break my neck on this ride.
And don't even try to raise your hands on it. I mean, I'm not a tall
No.
guy, but still, even my hands raised up, I'm like, I'm going to my wrist is gonna
I'm gonna lose a hand on this
not
thing.
fun.
Like, oh, it's so hard. It's such a fun ride, but yeah, afterwards it's always just like I don't know if that was worth
The
it.
new Yeti
Exactly.
is so. I say new. It's been there for a long time, but that Yeti is awesome.
Yeah,
It is
I love
amazing.
Harold. Rest in peace in Mission Breakout, but
Harold.
Yes.
I like the new one. He's really cool.
I love the
Yeah.
new one. It's loud in there too.
It's loud.
Oh, it
like
is
for
very
kids,
scary.
that's a scary ride now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
he's like in it a couple of times, wasn't it? Just the one spot.
No, I
before?
think it was two, but he does
Oh.
he does show like as you're going up the hill. They didn't have that.
The animated
him.
thing on the side there.
Yeah, the little animated
Oh,
thing.
yeah.
That is very scary.
that's true.
I definitely cover my ears sometimes.
Yeah, it's pretty loud.
I'm such a baby.
Brittle bones
but,
and-
yeah, brittle bones and brittle
Scared of
eardrums.
sounds.
So kind of on that one, favorite Disney movie. We're just throwing
Very
some hard
important
ones at
question.
you. Yeah.
Let's go.
I'm gonna go first. Okay, mine's The Princess and the Frog.
Whoa.
I know it's normally
A
it's,
recent classic.
yes, it's recent
Yeah,
classic.
seriously.
Yeah, no kidding.
Normally it's Beauty and the Beast, but ever since we went on the Wonder with our cruise to Alaska, they have a themed restaurant to Tiana's
Place, yeah.
and there's a
Oh my
show,
gosh.
and it made me. We watched it actually on the cruise, so it always brings back those memories. And I'm like, it is one movie where I laugh, I cry, I just like smile the whole time, I sing to the music, and it's something I could watch multiple times a week. I feel like so. Right now, I'd have to say that.
That's a solid pick.
And the
love
beignets.
that.
It is. It's a
It is
great
so
movie.
great.
We
It's
love it.
so
So
good.
excited for the ride.
I feel like we've
I can't
definitely
wait.
grown to love it more and more as time
Yeah.
goes on. It is definitely like a classic.
Like you said,
Yeah.
recent classic. Like it is cemented in like Disney, like you
Right?
know, movie legends, like
Yeah.
within our
Princess
mind.
movies,
Yeah, because
yeah.
it's just so great.
It
So
aged
how do you
well,
feel-
even though
Oh.
even though it's not like too old, it did very well.
I love it.
yeah,
It's gonna. I think it'll stay relevant for years. But
Yeah.
love
I
they
think
went
so,
too.
with the 2D animation. Yeah,
is gonna have to be Lion King because
let's go.
Yes.
it is the best movie
Show, yeah.
ever. It is like the voice talent, right?
Oh, I know.
It's
Jeremy
insane.
Irons, James Earl Jones, Matthew Broderick, because everyone
Yeah.
loves Matthew Broderick.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, it is. It is just a classic film. The music's fantastic. We've talked about the music. It is
Yeah.
just. It's the
Yeah.
perfect movie. It is
Spot
the
on.
perfect
It
movie.
there's
really
tears.
is.
Yes.
Like every
The
time.
tears.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. The
Oh
energy.
gosh,
Tears
it's
flow.
that one moment.
Yeah.
We all know.
World of Color. Oh my gosh, that scene in World of Color.
Oh,
was,
right.
Kills
Yes.
me.
I'm like,
Kills
Right?
me.
No.
Every
Tears
time.
every
I know.
time.
Every time.
Every
I know.
time.
Even
and
as
then it
a
goes to
So
that slow
emotional.
little
Right?
section. Oh, come on. Oh, that's so good. I love it.
It's so
yep.
bad.
Yep.
It's a great one though. Good choice, both of you guys.
Thank you.
Okay, so since you guys asked us the same question
This
when
is
we
a
were on
killer
your
question.
show, we have to know your answer for it, which is if you could, which ride would you swap between Disneyland and Disney World?
You go first.
I hate that you asked me this because it's so hard. I like asking
that
it.
question. It was way too good.
But being asked by it, that's harder.
Yeah,
so I'll
it
go
is
first.
tough.
Oh, that is so hard. I've been thinking about it and I just keep changing my answer. So I think I'm going to switch out. We're going to head over to Tomorrowland and I'm going to take out. I love the way it looks, but I can't ride it because I get really claustrophobic in it. I've tried it once, it did not go well. But Finding Nemo submarines, like I cannot be in an enclosed space like that. So I'm going to take that out, even though it's really pretty to look at.
Okay.
And I'm going to put, I think I'm going to go like when you guys are on our show, I'm going to put Tron there. I want Tron.
Okay. Ooh, yep.
Yeah.
I love that. I know that was what I was struggling with too. Like, because like you said, the look of the water near Matterhorn is so beautiful. So that's why I took out Astro Blasters. But I do agree, we never go in there, especially after like the pandemic. You're so close to
So claustrophobic.
It's like,
Right.
I love to look at it. Every time I walk by, I have to like sit and take a moment to just like observe it because it's beautiful. But yeah, as for the ride itself, doesn't happen often.
No, there's a lot of sharing of air, right? Not a lot of circulation.
Way too long.
Yeah.
Way of getting out of it because you're literally
Yeah, that's true.
I agree. That's a good little swap. I like it.
Yeah.
good
I
choice.
feel like mine doesn't make a lot of sense, but we're just gonna pretend.
Okay.
Okay. So you're gonna laugh when you hear this. Okay, so I'm not the biggest fan of the Millennium Falcon ride.
Okay.
And
Smuggler's Run.
I feel you.
Yes, that one.
Okay.
As you can tell, I don't even know the name of it. I've been on it once. And
That one
like,
space ride. Yeah.
but I think I would switch it for over in Magic Kingdom, Mine Train. Seven Dwarfs Mine
Seven
Train.
Dwarfs Mine Train.
It doesn't make sense to put it in Galaxy's Edge, but we'll just pretend it's going to go somewhere else.
I love it.
just spatially, you're just removing space from one area and giving more space to another.
Slap C-3PO and R2-D2 in there.
Yeah, in a perfect world, it would go in Fantasyland, but I love that ride, even though it's literally 15 seconds long.
It is so fun, though.
The Millennium Falcon's not my favorite.
Okay.
So
we were just talking about before you guys joined our show, like how Mandalorian is kind of like a spaghetti western, and she always talks.
Yeah.
She always like laughs when I say
what
spaghetti
is
western because that was
that?
the first time I said that, and then I was like, I actually don't know what that is, and then I looked it up. But
It's a
honestly,
thing, yeah.
you could kind of make it like take that out, do a little mine train thing, and be like, oh, it's like the spaghetti version of like Star Wars, and just kind of do it like a weird mining town part of the
I
two.
love it.
And they're
That's
like,
cool.
"Ah,"
you know?
And then Mando's just there, like at the end, you're like, oh, that's not Star Wars.
There's the tie-in.
You know?
Chris,
Okay.
you missed your calling to be an Imagineer, man.
Like
did.
the worst Imagineer
always
ever.
the
Just
dream.
put it there. Like it sounds good.
Mandalorian
Everyone's like,
at the
I
end.
don't understand the narrative in this.
Don't worry about the narrative. Man,
Yeah,
does it.
right.
Yeah.
Enjoy the ride.
It's gonna
okay?
create a whole
Oh
new
my
park that's
gosh.
just like a hodgepodge of everything. It's like,
I
this is
love
the
it,
worst
though.
Park ever.
I don't know about that idea.
So from there, before I just armchair Imagineer, very terrible.
The whole ride, yeah.
Yeah. What destination? So we've heard that you've been to the Bahamas or the
Correct.
Yes.
The Bahamas.
Okay.
And
Bahamas
Alaska.
and Alaska. Bahamas twice, Alaska once. What is what destination is on your bucket list for a cruise that you guys want to go on? Oh, actually, two-part. We're gonna do a two-part.
yeah.
One that already exists and one that maybe doesn't even exist. I don't know.
Okay.
That might be
okay.
hard. I don't know if you guys have
Like,
that at the
if you
top of your
could
head.
just
But
go
like,
anywhere.
maybe there's an area of the world you've wanted to travel, and maybe there is
Yeah.
not a Disney
Yeah.
cruise there. But
No, I love it.
Curious to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, that's so funny. We actually just had this conversation about where we wish that they would cruise to.
Go.
And we would love to take a Disney cruise to Switzerland, but they don't currently cruise there because of the way.
Well, I think it's landlocked.
I
So
know.
that's like saying you want to take a cruise to
I
like
know,
Missouri.
but like I wish I could cruise there.
Okay.
I know,
Like
but-
a river cruise.
I
In
wouldn't
like
know
a
that. I would be like,
yes. Sorry.
I wish you could
Context.
hover over
Context.
land. and
Yeah,
then-
yeah.
Yes, so you can do a river cruise there, but I wish like a Disney cruise could go
Sure.
to Switzerland.
Okay, yeah.
It's not big enough.
I love it. I love that you want to move.
Stop there, do a little train to the river, and then do a river cruise.
my
I like
God.
it.
Go see the real
If they
Matterhorn.
could disassemble the ship and then put it back together
Or
on a
like
river.
maybe do like a
Yeah.
super small Disney cruise
Okay.
ship. I
How
don't
about
know.
one that
Good
exists
idea.
already?
Yeah, I mean, in a perfect world, I would take the Dream to Switzerland.
But the itinerary that exists already.
The Mediterranean for sure is like our
Mediterranean, yeah.
ultimate like bucket list. It's where it goes to
It goes to
all the-
like
Positano and like
Italy,
There's so.
And that's it.
We know someone who just did,
I know it hits up Italy.
Honeymoon? I think it was their honeymoon
On a Disney
Disney
cruise?
Mediterranean. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Shannon.
Oh, she did one?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yes, we do.
Who's Shannon? I want to know who Shannon is.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Oh, so she did. Yeah, so Mediterranean, that would be awesome. Yeah, because it's.
Sounds amazing. I would
We
choose
want to
that
go
too,
back.
I think.
We've been to like Venice, and then we've been to like part of the Mediterranean. I'm actually my mother is from a small little island in the Mediterranean called Malta.
Really?
So we went to Malta as well. And so to do I don't think the Mediterranean cruise stops there. It's like
Probably wouldn't
literally
go to
the size of
Malta.
San Francisco, like the whole country. So
Yeah.
it's super small.
Oh my gosh.
That's
So I don't know if
crazy.
they would stop there, but some cruises do. But yeah, Mediterranean cruise would be amazing, especially like
Yeah.
those like Italian little
Yeah.
like coastal like
Oh my gosh,
Positano
yeah.
and what's the
Yeah.
other one? Positano and
Amalfi.
like the Amalfi,
Amalfi
Coast. Yeah,
Coast.
that's
Oh
so
my
cool.
gosh.
Yeah. But how about
Yeah.
you, Caleb?
So,
Yeah.
Caitlin stole my answer of an existing answer I'd love to do. So I will change it up, and I'm going to go, I'd love to do, it's cost prohibitive, and also you'd have to use, I'm sure, all of your vacation time at work. But there's a cruise that goes from Vancouver, Canada, all the way to Honolulu, Hawaii. So,
Oh my gosh.
so you
That
get a bunch
sounds
of sea days in there, but also you get a couple stops in Hawaii. So like you get to travel the Hawaiian Islands by cruise ship, which is
Oh my
unbelievable.
gosh. That sounds
Now-
That's
amazing.
amazing.
It's someone's yearly salary to go, but it looks it's not that bad, but it is very, very, very expensive. It's very expensive.
It's
So
a lot.
Oh my gosh.
yeah, like we mentioned on our show, if we win the Powerball, we'll all go as a group. But
Yes.
Yeah, right. Oh yeah, that sounds good. Wait,
Yeah.
what ship is that on? Is that on like a small
that is
one?
on the
'Cause
Wonder
it's,
actually.
Okay. I was gonna
Yep.
say
So
like,
the
is it on a
Wonder
smaller
takes
ship? Just 'cause-
all the West Coast itineraries. So like Alaska.
Ooh, got it.
It takes San Diego, to Mexico and stuff, and then also does the Hawaiian. So
Okay.
Awesome.
yes,
That
and
sounds
so one
amazing.
that doesn't exist.
You
That's
don't want to go
hard.
to Switzerland?
I'd love to go to Switzerland if it was possible. But I would
You
I'd
need to cut
probably
some
do like,
land out of whatever.
yeah,
Make it
come
a
on,
little-
Europe,
gosh.
make it happen.
Context. I forgot the context.
Yeah. Physics and such. I would love to do, I've never been to Japan. I've always wanted to go to Japan. So if they could
Ooh,
do
that'd
some
be
kind
so
of
awesome.
Japanese cruise, just Asia, that part of Asia would be amazing because I've always wanted to go to Tokyo Disney. And if I can get there by boat, that would be ideal.
That
So-
would be
Ooh,
amazing.
especially with all those new lands opening up. We got Tangled, Frozen, and Peter Pan.
gosh.
Come
Yeah.
on.
They get everything. They get
That's
everything.
going to be amazing.
I definitely want to go to Tokyo Disney Sea very soon.
yeah.
Maybe not-
Very soon.
yeah, we're probably getting it soon.
Yeah.
There's
Couple years
some,
maybe, but-
In the
couple
next
years,
8
yeah,
years,
no.
we'll get
Yeah. In the decade.
right.
Exactly.
I promise you guys now.
Yeah,
within the decade.
exactly.
Yeah, it's gonna happen. Oh, it's so
Good choices, you guys.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys so much for being on our show. This has just been such a
So
blast,
fun.
just like it was when we were on your guys' show. So,
Yeah.
any listeners who are listening right now, check out our interview that we did on Market House Podcast and
Yes.
follow them
Yeah.
because they're just the best. But for anyone listening, where can our listeners find you? Podcasts, Instagram, all that good stuff.
Yeah, so we're on Anchor like you guys, so it publishes it to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, I think Stitcher, and all the platforms. We're on Instagram at Market House Podcast, on Twitter at Market House Pod. Don't know how long that'll be around, but I'm on there. But yeah, that's where we're on. We're not on YouTube like you guys. Again, maybe one day we will be.
Maybe
But
one
yeah,
day.
but all the podcast platforms and Instagram and Twitter.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Awesome.
Well, guys, thank you so much. Like, honestly, we've been talking outside of our shows as well, and we just love you guys so much, and we would love to hang out in person.
Yeah.
Maybe we could
Yes.
do
We
like
have
a
to plan
collab
that.
in person, or just do like I don't know. I know we
Same,
like
just hang
mentioned
out.
maybe a Disney museum trip or something like that. Maybe we could just do like a little tiny live stream from there. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just
And then
We'll
we
do
can have
something.
fun
We'll do
doing it.
something.
guys and do some fun stuff. So, anyways, yes, definitely go check out Market House Podcast again. Thank you so much for
Thank
coming
you,
on.
guys.
We love you
Thank
Thank you for
guys.
having
Fun.
us. Seriously,
Thanks
love
for
you
taking
guys.
the
Thanks
time
so much
Yeah,
for having us on the show.
We appreciate you guys so much. And again, we we love everything you guys are doing. Your Instagram, your YouTube, your podcast. It's all just exquisite. So we're honored to be a part of your show. And
trying
your
to keep
friend.
up, guys.
Yeah, it's just, we're very thankful for you guys. So thank you so much.
We're honored to have you on our show.
Yes,
so much.
totally. You guys are the best. Thank you so much again.
Yeah.
Thank
and
you,
we'll
guys.
see you guys hopefully soon. Yeah.
Yes.
Bye.
Definitely see you guys. Bye.
See you
All right, bye,
guys.
guys.
See ya.
Wasn't that so much fun?
Yes, we love talking Disney Cruise Line. I already miss it.
I miss it too. And again, this was an older conversation with our friends. Thank you really quick again, by the way, to Chris and Emily for letting us share this interview with you guys. But again, when you're hearing it back, you're like, oh my gosh, I really miss going on vacation.
I know.
And being on a cruise line. So, yeah, thank you so much. Hope you guys enjoyed that. It was fun kind of reliving that conversation. We had a blast with Chris and Emily. But yeah, that's kind of brings it to the end of it. Thank you so much for kind of hanging in there. Again, we had an unannounced break there. I mean, for I think a decent reason.
I think so too.
Caitlin had just given birth to a child. And so we took that weekend off, and then we had pre-recorded. We're smart enough to do that, at least one episode.
Yep.
Hope you guys enjoy that top 5 desserts at the Disneyland Resort episode. We've got this one. And again, like we mentioned before, we should be back next week with regular scheduled programming.
I'm so excited.
I'm pumped.
I can't wait.
All right. Thank you so much. We'll see you again next week. Again, this is Market House. I don't have my usual notes in front of me. Follow us over on Instagram at Market House Podcast. Follow us on Threads at Market House Podcast. We have a Patreon. Thank you so much to those who support us over there.
Yes.
Go to markethousepodcast.com/support to check that out. We got a Getaway Today link if you want to book a thing and support the show. Go to the notes and do that. And I think that's it. If I'm missing something, I apologize. We will see you next week. Bye.
Bye.